The year is 1525. The Portuguese were defeated, and the return of the Datu was close at hand. The people of Mactan prepare for their return, awaiting their stories, their spoils of war, but most of all, the return of their loved ones. The Straits of Malacca have been swept. The newly unified Luzon-Visayas Coalition has executed its first national expeditionary strike, breaking a premier European global power on the sea lanes. But for our Scout Ranger, callsign Horizon Actual, there is no time for empty celebrations. Back in Cebu and Mactan, he reviews the tactical logs of the Malacca campaign. The reports are clear. While the Class 1 heavy strike Caracoa hybrid warships bypassed the Portuguese artillery's minimum firing angles to deliver a decisive boarding action, they revealed many critical engineering limits. By armoring the traditional bamboo outriggers with thick carvel-style timber sheathing and mounting heavy cast-iron deck cannons at the prow, the coalition has made the vessels dangerously front-heavy. Under rough ocean swells, they lose their signature speed and maneuverability, the very advantages that make them a lethal thalassocratic shield. Plus, the fact that they needed to board to deal the finishing blow was something that played into the advantage of the Western powers. Refinement requires standardization. To protect the archipelago from the massive Spanish armada scheduled to return in 40 years, they must move past hand-assembled prototypes to a self-sustaining, precision-engineered industrial system. But this forced modernization has pushed Mactan's fragile pre-colonial economy to a breaking point. Mactan is rapidly growing into a soot-choked, bustling industrial forge town. The air is thick with charcoal smoke from roaring hearths operating day and night. But this rapid industrialization has triggered a dual domestic crisis. First, the local forests are being rapidly depleted to fuel the high-heat smelting furnaces. Second, the warriors and rowers who once tended rice fields and fished the reefs are now permanently stationed in military barracks or hauling timber. Mactan's food security is dropping as agriculture is neglected in favor of the more stable industrial jobs that had become abundant in the Isles. The age of steel has begun, but the fuel is running dry. To feed Mactan's roaring foundries, the steel pipeline must flow constantly. But the economic terms of the trade are becoming unbalanced and favorable to the small island industrial aspirations. Historically, the wealthy harbor principalities of Maynila and Tondo held a ruthless, sovereign monopoly on all foreign maritime trade entering Luzon. Much more, there is no local production of steel in all of the archipelago. At this point of history, China has the most robust steel production in this part of the world. When merchant junks from Fujian, Japan, or the southern sultanates entered Manila Bay, Tondo's elites would seize their sails and rudders, force them to pay anchorage duties, and buy up all their raw metals and katanas at a deep discount. They would then retail these materials to the rest of the archipelago at a massive premium. Because Mactan does not possess its own high-grade iron mines, it must purchase all of its raw iron and high-carbon Japanese steel from Tondo to maintain a suitable volume to operate its forges and arm its newly formed armies. Under the Tondo Accord, Mactan's sovereign wealth, in the form of gold, valuable forest goods, and pearls, is being rapidly drained by Tondo's wealthy merchant class. They are losing too much in trade simply to keep their furnaces hot, while the promises of riches and stability have attracted much of the rural workforce of Mactan, and even that of Cebu. This pull had contributed to its rapid growth and had likely made this simple settlement into a new regional city. While the Scout Ranger is likely the most powerful being in all of Visayas, the fact of the matter is, with this economic burdens, he is unable to etch out a suitable response and would likely seek the counsel of his alliances. Datu Horizon Actual realizes that a standing army cannot survive on a trade deficit. To build an unbreakable archipelagic shield, they need complete strategic resource independence or a new regional trade deal to not just save Mactan, but also enrich the members of the coalition. They must bypass Tondo's monopoly and secure their own food and mineral pipelines. The solution lies in the pre-colonial concept of the Mandala, a non-centralized, highly integrated network of alliances built on mutual benefit and shared prosperity. Instead of large kingdoms, many of the settlements or polities around the archipelago operate under an influenced way of life, where one can exert one's power over others if they are able to gather influence and might. His victory over the Western invaders would have made him and his soldiers legendary, as well as the only solution against the hostile invaders and colonizers, giving him plenty of influence over his peers and fellow Datus, making it possible for him to secure a spot as the undisputed champion or military might of the whole archipelago and beyond, since word of his warriors would have made it back to his peoples. Instead of forcing Mactan's local population into subsistence agriculture or fishing, Horizon Actual leverages the unique geographical strengths of each coalition member, transforming the archipelago into a synchronized economic engine. First, they secure the food supply. Luzon is the ultimate granary. Historically, the Tagalogs of Luzon possessed massive, reliable rice surpluses, and the Cordilleras in the north featured the masterfully engineered Ifugao rice terraces. The Banawi rice terraces, which is widely called the eighth wonder of the world, a title it owns due to how breathtaking it is as a modern and natural masterpiece. By formalizing a food pact under the coalition, Mactan secures an unbreakable, continuous supply of wet rice, which is a staple food for the region. Cebu and Mactan no longer need to exhaust their labor on agriculture. They can dedicate 100% of their workforce to the shipyards and foundries. Second, they secured the caloric trade fuel. The rich, volcanic soils of the Visayas provide massive sugarcane yields, serving as both an essential trade commodity and quick energy for the industrial workforce. Third, the southern sultanates of Mindanao and Brunei provide a steady supply of coconuts, oils, and maritime resources. But the crown jewel of this Mandala economy lies in the south. Using the geographical mapping database on his military tablet, the Ranger bypasses Tondo's Chinese trade middlemen entirely. He identifies a massive, untouched, high-grade iron ore deposit located directly in the nearby rugged mountains of Surigao, Mindanao. While it is still to be discovered and utilized, this information from the future will help him secure the iron he needs for the future. A sovereign transport fleet of hybrid caracoas is established to run the Surigao-Mactan corridor, which would start off as a trade agreement with the many sultans of the south to procure fruits and vegetables. With food flowing from the north, raw iron flows from the south, and Mactan's forge remains burning hot. To achieve absolute strategic independence, the coalition must stop relying on repurposing imported Japanese katanas or melting down captured Spanish cannons. They must master domestic steel smelting from scratch, something that they must find out how. As while the Datu of Mactan is a man that comes from a world abundant with steel, he is no engineer to be able to tell with ease how to forge such high-quality material. Under the ranger's technical guidance, local blacksmiths construct advanced, high-heat clay brick blast furnaces in Mactan and Tondo, while he tries to hire people from China, Japan, and even from India to learn how to create their steel. With China and India being the most prominent out of these, with India creating Damascus steel from ritualistic practices where they combined herbs with steel, creating one of the best steels at this era. By utilizing water wheel-driven bamboo bellows, they force massive volumes of oxygen into the hearths, reaching and sustaining the critical melting point of iron at 1538 degrees Celsius. They smelt the raw Surigao iron ore and blended it with exact, calculated ratios of local charcoal to achieve a 0.8% carbon content. This is the birth of high-tensile spring steel, flexible, incredibly strong, and specifically optimized to forge trigger springs, firing pins, and rifle barrels that can withstand high black powder pressures without bursting. Of course, this production is significantly less than that of their peers. With time and effort, Mactan would become capable in creating steel to create better weapons to fight against their enemies. The metallurgy gap of 5 centuries has been bridged in less than a decade. Mactan is no longer just an emerging city. It is the industrial powerhouse of not just the archipelago, but now the whole of Southeast Asia. 40 years remain before the Spanish Armada returns, but they will not find a primitive coastline like they did back with Magellan. They will face a highly coordinated, economically self-sustaining nation forged in fire and steel. The timeline is locked. The cementing of their freedom has started, and in time, they will raise to live free under their newfound sovereign might. This has been a tactical situation report from Philippine Re-Horizon. If you want to see how this newly industrialized coalition deploys its steel armada to defend the gates of the Pacific, hit that subscribe button and join our community. To solve the deforestation crisis caused by Mactan's roaring foundries, the coalition has consolidated coconut husks and shells as alternative fuel. If you were the Scout Ranger, would you recommend fully transitioning the foundries to agricultural byproducts to completely preserve local timber, or continuing selective logging of high-density hardwoods to guarantee the furnaces consistently maintain the critical smelting temperature of 1538 degrees Celsius? Which path secures the long-term survival of the Bayan?